The lights dim, the crowd roars, and somewhere in the electric heartbeat of the Spectrum Arena, a man takes flight. For a moment, time freezes, sneakers leave the hardwood, gravity waits in awe, and the world below watches as Julius Erving, known to millions as Dr. J, stretches across the air like an artist painting in motion. His afro haloed in arena lights, his arm reaching out with impossible grace. And then, the slam. The rim shakes, the crowd explodes, and basketball is never the same again. But this story doesn't begin under those bright lights. It begins far from fame, in a modest home in Roosevelt, New York. A boy named Julius Winfield Erving II grew up with dreams bigger than his surroundings. His mother worked tirelessly to provide, instilling in him the power of discipline and the dignity of hard work. On cracked asphalt courts, barefoot sometimes, Julius learned that the game wasn't just about shooting or dribbling. It was about freedom. Every leap, every glide was a taste of escape, from limitations, from doubt, from the ordinary. They called him the Doctor, long before he stitched together a legend. The nickname came from his childhood friend. Julius was the one who always operated on the court. And soon, he'd live up to that name in ways no one could have imagined. This is the story of a man who redefined basketball as art, a pioneer of flight who inspired generations to rise above their struggles, their critics, and even their own gravity. This is the story of Dr. J, the man who taught the world how to soar. The journey to greatness began humbly, with a ball and a dream. In Roosevelt, Julius was quiet but confident. He wasn't loud or flashy, just relentless. At Roosevelt High School, his athletic gifts became impossible to ignore. Coaches whispered that there was something different about him. Not just his vertical leap or his smooth scoring touch, but his demeanor. He played like he belonged to another dimension, yet carried himself with the grace of someone deeply grounded. After high school, he earned a scholarship to the University of Massachusetts. There, he averaged over 26 points and 20 rebounds a game. Unheard of numbers for a forward barely scratching the surface of his potential. But beyond the statistics, there was poetry in his play. His teammates often said it felt like watching jazz, fluid, improvisational, and fearless. Julius wasn't trying to dominate the game, he was expressing it. But the world didn't yet know his name. College basketball wasn't built to showcase his kind of brilliance, the aerial artistry, the creativity, the swagger. So when the American Basketball Association, the ABA, came calling, he took the leap. In 1971, Julius Erving joined the Virginia Squires. The league was smaller, scrappier, but it was alive with color and personality. And for Dr. J, it was a perfect stage. Almost instantly, he became the face of the ABA. His dunks weren't just highlights, they were revelations. Fans began to see the game differently. Where others drove to the hoop, Dr. J glided. His hands, large enough to palm the ball like a grapefruit, allowed him to control it mid-air like a magician revealing his next trick. Every night became a spectacle. Crowds filled arenas not just to watch basketball but to witness art. Kids mimicked his moves on playgrounds, adults shook their heads in disbelief, and sports writers began reaching for metaphors, because words couldn't quite capture what they were seeing. In 1973, he joined the New York Nets, and there, he became a champion. The Nets built their entire system around his brilliance, and Julius delivered in spectacular fashion. With his signature afro and effortless charisma, he became more than an athlete. He became a cultural icon. The ABA's red, white, and blue ball seemed to orbit around him. In the 1974 and 1976 seasons, he led the Nets to 2 ABA titles, capturing 3 straight MVP awards. Then came the moment that forever immortalized his legend, the 1976 ABA Slam Dunk Contest. The crowd buzzed in Denver as Dr. J stood at the opposite end of the court. He took a few deep breaths, eyes scanning the rim like a pilot preparing for takeoff. Then, he began his approach. 1 step, 2, the dribble rhythm, the roar rising, and then, from the free throw line, he lifted off. For a heartbeat, he hung in the air, defying physics, stretching his arm outward like a living symbol of hope, and dunked with thunder. The crowd erupted, the camera flashes popped like fireworks, and basketball's modern era of flight was born. When the ABA merged with the NBA later that year, Julius Erving became the Philadelphia 76ers' crown jewel. Yet the transition wasn't easy. The NBA was tougher, more structured, and filled with stars of its own. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Pete Maravich, and a young Magic Johnson soon to emerge. Still, Dr. J didn't flinch. He carried his humility like armor and his grace like a weapon. The Sixers quickly became contenders, and Philadelphia embraced their new hero. The fans loved his style, not just the dunks, but the spirit behind them. He played with joy, with class, and with a sense of showmanship that made even opponents stop and stare. But with every breathtaking performance came heartbreak. The Sixers reached the finals multiple times, in 1977, 1980, and 1982, only to fall short. Each loss was a wound. Reporters began to question, could Dr. J win it all in the NBA? Those doubts burned quietly within him. Behind the easy smile and calm voice, there was a man obsessed with excellence. In private, he trained relentlessly. Hours spent refining his jump shot, perfecting footwork, conditioning his body. Teammates would recall late-night gym sessions where Julius worked in silence, chasing a championship he could almost touch. Then, in 1983, everything came together. With the arrival of Moses Malone, the rebounding powerhouse who famously predicted a 4-0 sweep through the playoffs, the Sixers became unstoppable. Julius, though past his prime years of pure flight, evolved into a wiser, steadier leader. He didn't need to dunk from the free throw line anymore. His presence alone inspired belief. That season, the Sixers dominated the league. In the finals, they faced the Los Angeles Lakers, the very team that had denied them glory before. But this time, destiny was different. The Sixers swept the series 4-0. When the final buzzer sounded, Dr. J raised his arms in triumph, not as the flamboyant young dunker, but as the seasoned champion who had finally conquered the summit. The image of him smiling, embracing Moses, remains one of basketball's most iconic moments. Off the court, Julius Erving was every bit as graceful as he was on it. Known for his calm wisdom, articulate speech, and dignified presence, he became a role model for athletes everywhere. He valued education, family, and integrity. He spoke about faith, perseverance, and purpose, not fame. Even as his career wound down in the mid-1980s, Dr. J's influence only grew. The new generation, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and a young Michael Jordan, all cited him as their inspiration. In many ways, Julius was the bridge between eras, from the ABA's flamboyance to the NBA's golden age. He proved that creativity and professionalism could coexist, that you could be both spectacular and humble, both showman and gentleman. When he played his final game in 1987, arenas across America celebrated him like royalty. Every stop on his farewell tour became an emotional event. Standing ovations, tributes, tears. Opponents hugged him, fans chanted his name, and even referees smiled when he touched the ball. It was more than respect. It was gratitude. The man who had once reimagined the limits of human flight had given basketball a soul. After retirement, Julius channeled his energy into business, mentorship, and philanthropy. He became a successful entrepreneur, a community leader, and a father figure to countless young athletes. Life tested him, with personal losses and challenges, but he faced them as he always had, with quiet strength and unwavering grace. In reflection, Dr. J once said, "Being a professional is about more than how you play the game. It's about how you carry yourself when the game is over." Today, his legacy soars far beyond the court. Every windmill dunk, every alley-oop, every creative flourish we see in modern basketball traces its lineage back to him. He wasn't just a player, he was a movement. A man who gave flight to imagination. And somewhere, in every young athlete daring to leap higher than logic allows, the spirit of Dr. J lives on, gliding effortlessly above the rim, showing the world that the limits we see are only illusions. Julius Erving's story reminds us that greatness isn't about talent alone. It is about vision, perseverance, and the courage to redefine what's possible. From the playgrounds of Roosevelt to the rafters of NBA history, Dr. J proved that when you rise above doubt and fear, the world can't help but look up. If this story inspired you, if it reminded you to keep chasing your dreams no matter how high they seem, then don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs a spark today, and subscribe to Behind the Metal for more powerful stories of legends who turned struggle into triumph. Because every metal has a story, and every story begins with the courage to rise.